Hello friends and welcome back to another episode of CS Mentor. So in today's video we are still talking about jurisprudence interpretation and general laws, and I'm going to be addressing a topic that is known as how many hours of study is required for JIGL. And the reason I'm doing this video today is because I was asked certain questions by some people, and the questions were usually like, should I do 60 hours of study for jurisprudence, or do I require 200 hours of study for jurisprudence? The truth is, this question confuses me. Like, how do you actually correlate the number of hours of study to being prepared for the examination, or the number of hours of study to the actual knowledge that you are gaining? Right? Because some students are very efficient about the way they study, whereas some other students have different methods of study. And to be able to tell any person that, see, if you study for 200 hours, you will definitely pass. That is a very, very wrong thing to do. And the truth is, this question is being asked due to a very valid reason. And that is the fact that ICSI exams are conducted once in every 6 months. So yes, we do need to keep a timeline also, right? We need to keep a timeline of being prepared for the examination. We need to be prepared for June or December. Now, whether you have 9 months of preparation or whether you have only 3 months of preparation, the question you shouldn't be asking, the question you should not ask is how many hours of study should I do, but rather you should be asking how can I efficiently study for my examinations. Now, let's just assume that you actually had to do 200 hours of study. If you do 200 hours of study for just one paper, then you need 200 hours of study for the remaining 4 papers in your module 1 also, right? And let's assume that adds up to around 800 hours of study, and you will have to sit down every single day for 5 months continuously and study for 6 hours every day for you to achieve that result. Now, this is the worst way to study, because you're not a robot, you're not a machine. Okay, you will study, you can consistently study for 3 months straight, but you're going to have a breakout, you're going to have a burnout, or you're going to stop, you're going to give up, or students face this. So it is impossible to simply assume that a student is a robot and presume that, okay, if I start study today, then 5 months later I'll be completed. You can study for 1,000 hours also and you will not be prepared for your exam unless you ask yourself, how should I efficiently study for my examination? And that is what I'm going to tell you to concentrate on in this particular video. So what should you concentrate on, or how will you efficiently study for any paper? And here I'm not relating it only to jurisprudence. I'm relating it to any paper that you're going to study it in, CS Executor or even professional. First thing is, you need to understand the concept. Okay. I have seen that many students, they tend to, if they don't understand a concept, they just tend to mug it up. While this is efficient in a short term, like it's a short term goal, it doesn't help you in the long run. Okay. Understanding is very, very important, but you should not give it too much time. Like, you should not allot yourself one chapter per 1 week, which is honestly a little bit worrying, because if you're doing that, then you need to hurry up the process a little. See, understanding is like understanding a story, reading a story. You just relate things to each other and you sort of remember the general outline. After you finish understanding the concept, then you need to do writing practice. Now, why is writing practice important? I'm saying that it's important from two angles or two aspects. One is that when you write in practice, it is equivalent to 3 revisions or even 5 revisions. Okay, depending on the way that you're making notes and writing it down. And the second requirement of writing and practicing is that ultimately you'll be prepared for your examination. See, in your examination, you have to write 21 questions worth like almost 5 marks each, which you have to write in a short span of 180 minutes. Now, it sounds easy, okay, but actually it's not. Because if you waste time in between thinking of what you should write and then attempting the answer, you actually end up wasting so much time that many students end up coming out of the paper or the examination hall to tell me that they've not completed their paper, or that they've left out almost 10 to 15 marks worth of answers. So when you write and practice, it actually helps you be prepared for your examination. And also, one more thing is that whatever you write and practice, you will tend to remember. So even when you're revising it right before the examination, you don't have to spend or waste time going through the whole textbook. Okay, you can just rely on your own notes for quick revisions. The third thing that you need to do is you need to give time for revisions. Revisions is basically short revisions. Each chapter, you should finish it off in 10 minutes each. But you have to do multiple revisions, like 3 to 5 revisions. 3 is what I will keep as a good enough number. But if you have more time, you can do 5 revisions. And I'm saying like 10 minutes each, that's all. The bigger the chapter is, maybe you can give a little bit more time. But the purpose of revision is that you tend to remember. Fine. Now, how do you allot time across all 3? First, when you're trying to understand, you can read it on your own. And there are many chapters which are actually easy to understand this way. Whether it is Law of Torts or Limitation Act or Contract Law is something that people find very easy. When you start out with these chapters, it's good enough. But then there are technical chapters in this subject. And that is why even in my earlier video, I had told you to be efficient about your study, I would suggest that you enroll yourself with some academy or through some teacher. Now, this is in no way any kind of promotion to any kind of academy. In fact, I'm not even encouraging you to enroll with me. I'm just saying that when you study under someone else, they explain the concept to you, thereby reducing the amount of time required for understanding. See, because you still have a long way to go. Simply understanding something is not going to give you or guarantee you a result which is satisfactory to you. Like, you might not even pass your examination with simply understanding the concept. I'll tell you what understanding is useful for. Only if you understand and you go on to the next step, that is write and practice, only then you will end up retaining the information. If you decide, okay, you know what, I don't need understanding, I'll just write and practice and mug up everything, I guarantee you that is the worst way to study. Because what you study in jurisprudence here is going to be carried across even your professional papers. A lot of what you study here is given in a slightly more technical level at your professional level. So you are in a way hitting 2 birds with 1 stone here. By understanding at this stage, you actually prepare yourself. You lay out the groundwork for all the upcoming exams and hurdles that you'll have to cross. Okay, so understanding the concept, try to keep it as minimal as possible. Finish it off fast. Read it like a story if you want, attend a class if you want, and finish it. Because after that, now you need to sit and write and practice. And here is where a lot of people actually get caught. They tend to rely on notes given by academies or other people's notes, which is great. It's fine. It's not a problem. In fact, it's easy. But unless you write and practice on your own, you've only completed 30 to 40% of your studies. Okay? You might pass. You might get 40 marks or you might get 41 marks. But ultimately, our goal is not to just pass, right? We wish to attain the highest mark that we can get, to show that we can be the best at what we do. So yes, I am talking about these things in the hope and the assumption that everyone is aiming for an exemption level mark, or even 80 marks or 90 marks, because I've seen a paper where someone has received 90 marks for their examination. So what is the difference between getting 40 marks and 90 is that you have to give the kind of preparation which is equivalent to both understanding, writing practice, as well as revisions. And when you do these 3 steps in its proper manner, believe it or not, when you just scan through some of the past question papers, you will already know the answers. So how much time is it going to take you to do all of this? That you have to decide. You have to sit down and you have to prepare. But don't be stupid to start this preparation 2 months before the exam, because that is, as I had worded the sentence, stupidity. Okay? Be well prepared. Look at your subjects, talk to people, try to engage and try to understand concepts well in advance. 5 months is a good time. 4 months is still okay. 3 months is pushing it, which means you might have to put a little bit more effort to actually study. And don't set unreasonable standards like, oh, only if I finish 200 hours I'll be prepared for the exam. There is no such thing. You can finish certain concepts way earlier, or it might take you some time to finish others. And remember, you're not studying jurisprudence alone. You're studying it with 3 other subjects in module 1. So think on this and then accordingly write down. Understand who you are as a person and how you study, and then make a study plan. So in one of the upcoming videos, I'm actually going to be presenting various study plans that you can implement, or certain certain goals that you have to achieve at certain times to be well prepared for the examination. So do press that subscribe button and stay tuned into my series for a lot more information on the CS Executive series.